lot of options that he can do.
Yeah, there's some flexibility that hasn't been fully explored. Like, I think most of it's been ironed down to like 2 approaches. You're either looking to TC Boom into like a late game with Imperial, or you're thinking about Jignu. And Jignu are a pretty cool like win condition up against the right civs. I just don't think it's that great against the HRE because they'll reach that death ball of man-arms. So this could be one of those matchups where PuppyPaw has to go on the defensive. Something to keep in mind, though, talking of civ flexibility, God, I can't believe it's getting added to the arsenal of like valid tools more and more. I'm going to mention the word outpost here. And I want you to realize that this is probably the best civ to build outposts with because they do it so much quicker than everyone else.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's...
It'll be interesting.
That's for consideration right there. We might get some cheesy outpost rushing. We'll have to see.
Yes, we...
Actually, I think coRe's saved by the generation. Look where the gold is.
Yeah.
It's behind his TC.
Also, this one has 5 relics.
Woohoo! We done it, guys. So what you're saying is like the 8. So what you're clearly trying. I see what you're trying to do to me here, Jess. You're trying to interweave the stories. So Matisse with 3 relics was able to win as the HRE. So that means that coRe with 5 relics is bound to win with the HRE, right?
Yeah, sure. That's what I'm gonna say.
You're huffing some coRe.
I don't know where this game is going. I'm not gonna say the future, but I am just gonna highlight. They're like, while as they're setting up, we could see some cheeky tower rushes. We could see some things, but there's like a lot of res out on the field for an HRE player in terms of relics.
So he's got that to look forward to. But he's up against the Chinese, and I'm excited to see if we're going to see a play out onto secondary TC on the lake. We don't really see it from the Chinese games we have seen so far, mainly because usually the Chinese, they want to keep a condensed eco so they can tax their way up. And when you set up a new town center out, like for a start, you don't want to use the town center as a drop-off point. You actually want to use mills so they actually accrue tax and they can be supervised. It seems like inefficient to just set up a town center aggressively. What we could see, though, is we could see PuppyPaw build like 2 or 3 TCs at home and then run villages out into the midfield with a tax official, with an Imperial official to supervise, which is actually insane because scrap all that. It's time. It's time for the outpost rush. And guys, like PuppyPaw, I would just like to highlight, we interviewed him last weekend. His response to, how do you feel about being one of the most aggressive players in the game? I don't think I'm that aggressive.
He has room for improvement. These are the most aggro vills. You got 6
Yeah, they're aggressively attacking that tree. That's definitely a misclick. He doesn't have the wood.
He's like, now he's got wood. I have nowhere to drop it off, but he's got wood.
Once again, just reiterating PuppyPaw's statement that he's not an aggressive player and coRe with the baby wall. I can't believe, like, how does that stop him?
Is that because like that's all
It's
he
the Barbican.
sees?
It's the Barbican, that's why. Okay, yeah, it's the Barbican block.
Prevent it from laying down.
But he's going to get it anyway. Okay, okay. Is he going deeper? It might be available deeper. Oh my no!
He just like pushed him into a closer corner.
But that was my concern about the first wall. Like, he could have just quick walled multiple locations. Instead, he used 3 villagers on each palisade wall, and now he just lost his gold. And Jess, this is a catastrophe for the HRE. Look at the map. Where else do you get gold as coRe here?
He's got to walk really, really, really far, or bypass the Barbican, which he can't at this point. That's the closest goal. He's got to go north. Still gonna try to palisade wall or not?
Yeah, I don't know what that like. He might stop an outpost crawling, but he won't because even if he walled where he was like intending to wall there, PuppyPaw could have walked around the side of it and not been in TC range. And like, look at this now, coRe. He's making his way out. He's making his way. I've seen this guy, by the way, coRe. He's been in games where he's literally ran laps of the map with his villagers trying to find gold. He will do it if he needs to.
The walk of gold and shame. He's trying to find out. He's gonna make it there, so at least he'll be safe for a little bit of time. But when you've got aggressive, did he not stop?
Cool.
What? Wait. Oh, maybe. Oh, he's going for the bigger pot of gold.
I don't know if
greedy?
that's less obvious though, because
Is it?
well, because it could be like it could be spotted by a scout quicker in theory. I guess there's no reason for PuppyPaw to play midfield right now. Instead, he's just going to play with the deer outside core space.
Take your food.
I am a little bit surprised that PuppyPaw didn't try an outpost crawl. He could have kept going with this. He actually could have blocked the wood and then wrapped around the alternative side and got rid of all the wood from core. But some mercy being shown with just the Barbican drop there.
Yeah.
I say as he now drops an outpost next to the deer and the gold.
I think he might continue to go out that way. A little bit of harassment. Taking out the stone.
So the slowdown for PuppyPaw, like the reason he isn't just like outpost rushing fully is that he's probably only got one Imperial official at this stage. Most Chinese players are maybe now building their second one. And yeah, he does get one out in the field now. Yeah. So now he's going to supervise the wood, but it wasn't there before, so he didn't have that major influx of wood coming in that would allow him to just boom outposts around the base.
Exactly. I think we'll see more and more, like he's as he's inching out like a little bit closer, I think he spots like the other side. It looks like he's scouted out the other side of core's base, so he could swing around with more outposts at this point, but he already has the advantage. Like, and he also has vision advantage. Like, he can see exactly what's going on in core's base.
The problem right now is that those gold vein workers still haven't been spotted. Oh, crap.
Oh.
So the problem with this pull from core is it feels a little bit greedy because this group might give away the second group if he's not careful. He needs to go to a different gold vein, otherwise he's going to get spotted and a few horsemen can be pulled. Like, I would actually be all for PuppyPaw building a stable right now and pushing like 4 horsemen into the midfield now that he knows his opponent is playing proxy gold lines.
Yeah, once he spots that big pot in the middle of the greedy pot, I think that's a big loss. Like, one outpost though isn't going to do a crazy amount of damage at the end of the day.
Maybe this is like ultra level mind games from coRe. He's like, if he thinks I'm only going out for gold now, he won't know about the other gold group to the north. I think we're reaching. I think we're really reaching.
I don't know. Like,
the mind games.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, it could be.
Mind games. He hasn't laid down like, mining camp. Oh, look, here's the outpost push that we're thinking about. Yeah.
Yep.
If he puts an outpost like at every single gold, it's just like the vision's there and he's got horsemen out already, like you said, so he can go pretty fast. Like,
I think it's just key that he wraps north now. Like, you're blocking out this gold by default, so you actually want to keep skying because your horsemen can't dive right now. There's no point for them to like go back towards the base. And because you're not going to spot this, coRe is going to get his tech up, folks. PuppyPaw is going to be gobsmacked by this because he's fully engaged. He's not expecting this tech up.
Damn. Okay, so like PuppyPaw right now has like 2 horsemen out of the field. We have no military from coRe, so like obviously it's hard to defend against like horsemen that are all around. Like, so with his best strat to protect would just be making more towers.
Oh, well, he can't now though. PuppyPaw just spotted it. Yeah. It's now too late, and he's gonna realize like he's gonna check the gold veins, see how much gold's been taken, and go, fudge, this is gonna be a problem. He's very close, and he'll snipe out the horseman. Like, no, coRe, don't leave. Commit, damn it. Just get... Why would you build an outpost instead of getting the gold? You only need enough for the tech up. I guess he wants to ensure that he can afford the Burgrave, so this outpost will do exactly that. Yeah. But he doesn't know how big or small PuppyPaw's army is. Now, we can see that PuppyPaw does not have a big enough force to aggress this, and instead... I think his best approach is to start boom up, and it looks like that's going to be exactly what he does. He's going to build the second TC at home. But PuppyPaw, I don't think he has Song Dynasty yet, so he's not even going to get the high TC count value. Yeah, so...
Chiganu or anything.
No, so no Chiganu, but like more importantly, like you're not even getting full value out of these TCs because you build a second TC, but like you really want that Song Dynasty taking 7 seconds off the production time. Because you're now on the clock, it's a very thin window, and you have to be astutely aware that coRe has been starved out of gold, but he's getting it now. And because he's getting it, he must have a lot of food in reserve. So the initial push of troops when he reaches castle is going to be big.
Right, that Burger Palace is going to be pumping out patties pretty quickly.
Yeah, in this situation, like the patty creator has been like clogged up, but someone's still been like spinning the lever, right? It's like the pressure has been building, and now it's just going to be a blowout of meat load all over like the kitchen. There's going to be so many man-at-arms at this rate.
I'm just waiting for that drop. I mean, gold is like very tower secured.
Yeah, I think he's created a perimeter now.
Yeah, I think maybe he might need like one more, just like 5 to even it out. So each Vil gets their own house.
You have to be very careful, Jess. When you actually form 5 towers, especially if it ends up being in the pentagon shape, you risk summoning a greater demon from the afterlife, so it's not worth it. Just stop before.
Oh god.
Diamonds forever, demons are for Saturdays. Oh,
yeah.
So he even gets the arrow slits to be safe.
It's just like, it sucks that like the Vils go for the one that's like farther away from the gold, where they should have just come down to the south one. Or at least maybe from this perspective is like, yeah, no, see, she could just like hop out mine and they're on the other wrong side, so.
Yeah, like PuppyPaw can't block it anymore. He just needs to play for his game. He's just trying to delay it slightly. And in fairness to him, he has delayed it substantially. And also coRe is floating a lot of wood, a lot of food. There is a thing called a market, which is being highlighted by Lytical there. Would you like to guess what you can do at a market, Jess?
I don't know. I heard that like sometimes you could trade. Not sure.
But trading does sound like a cat. It's not a warrior's tool, right? And coRe, he likes to think he's a warrior, so you wouldn't want to be a merchant. You know, he's probably one of those guys, like, he does D&D adventure. He's not like, I'm a part of the Mercantile Guild. Like, you know, he gets into the Elder Scroll world. He's joining, like, the Warriors Guild straight away, right?
Exactly. He's like, I'm gonna avoid this at all costs. Looks like our Burger Palace is finally making an appearance.
But look
and
at
the
this.
clock tower.
Yep.
It's immediate response to the clock tower.
This is really good, actually, for PuppyPaw, because this is one of the matchups that actually the HRE don't just run over in. The reason is because if you both start pushing your man-at-arms variety, even with marching drills, you're slower than the Chinese. So if your plan is to start diving their TC and clubbing down all their people, well, they can start diving your TC and clubbing down all your people. The difference is Chinese villagers come out a lot quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can run a little bit faster. Oh, look, he's just like, I'm going to take your gold.
He's like, yeah, do you want to come and stop me? I dare you. And now back to the Imperial Academy. So this is where you get some flexibility. PuppyPaw, in theory, with his eco, the way it's going to start to scale, he could even think about going for a mixture of Chicken New and the Palace Guard. I prefer just Palace Guard push here, like build 3 racks, have one of them supervised, and you're almost at the same level as the Burgrave.
Right. I think he might even be able to counter with that. Like, you know, he's walled off his base too, so he's not super at risk for any raids. There's also no mobile units out on the field, which he knows. So he's not going to be affected by that either. So he can just camp out and just like start pumping out some Palace Guards or whatever he wants, like in response to this.
Yeah, and the problem is that you run a risk of these man-at-arms being men that are armless because they won't be able to reach their targets. Meanwhile, the Palace Guard actually run quick enough to gap close on villagers at all times. It's a big difference, actually. It's 1.38 movement speed compared to 1.24 when you had marching drills. And that is at least now coming through from coRe in the following minute. Instead, it's going to be a crossbow pull. So PuppyPaw is actually going to play full defensive instead of going for trade in terms of like sniping eco for eco. Although he has got something else that can snipe eco. This outpost is being stuck.
He's like, I'll be like slightly on the offense.
It's so annoying as well, because we're 14 minutes in the game, and you're like, oh, I guess we're past this cheesy outpost rush, and he wouldn't do that again. And PuppyPaw's like, yo, cool, this one's for game number 1. You piece of crap, take this.
Might as well. He's like, I got a Vil here. Might as well do something with it.
He wants to make sure he never stops getting gold here.
Yeah.
And cannon slit. Hat cannon slit, so no intent to get surveillance, but I don't mind that, because if there's no textiles, you 2-hit these villagers anyway.
Yeah. They're just gonna have to push like further over on the wood line.
And it looks like he doesn't want to waste time to get rid of this.
Yeah.
So no heavy maces either, but heavy mace is like it. Yeah. Okay, so coRe right now is playing blind Age of Empires 4. The reason he's going for heavy maces is he probably expects what I talked about with Palace Guard for the trade opportunity. he's going to get some bad news. Although there are lances, like the heavier lance is going to be on crossbows, and crossbows don't care about your heavy maces. They're not a heavy unit. They don't take bonus damage.
Oh, they're going to be far away. Two-handed weapons isn't selected yet. He's still building up resources. Not like coRe doesn't have enough gold income yet to get the rest of the res, but he's going to run into this wall pretty quickly.
It's taking me a little while to get through. This is where you discount because the nest of bees are coming out as well. They're starting to be pumped.
Yep.
Oh, cancel animation there. Well, that splash, like that adds up over time. If you keep failing to breach here, you keep coming in and tanking one of them at a time. Like, that's a heavy loss of health. And you haven't got prelates to heal that up. You've got one prelate, literally one. He hasn't moved out for relics at all, despite the fact he now controls midfield because all the outposts surrounding him.
Right, he's trying to avoid lose. I mean, he's probably gonna lose his prelate, but I mean, you could at least try to send out one to that like closer one. Maybe burn down a tower, try to grab at least one relic.
Well, the danger of you not going for relics is that the Chinese can do it very quick via superbuzz. So instead, it looks like he's going to try to reacquire his own base, but this kind of splits in the face of what you do the Burgrave for. He's at least going to keep building up the death ball, but remember that PuppyPaw is building up a counter death ball, and it's going to probably involve more nest of bees. And by the way, you know what I was saying about how the Chinese can go into relic gathering themselves? It's underway, and it doesn't take long because when you plop down a temple as the Chinese and supervise it, you push them out every 18 seconds. So you'll be able to move out in that midfield while you have control and yoink away all the relics.
We see some monks coming out right now, and like, so he's got his monks coming out, pushing out to the midfield, and then also he's like, even if this goes down, taking advantage over the base. It's just not enough. Like, just doesn't have enough like military to go out or harassing. So, like, even though there's some action happening, he's not doing any like huge disadvantage to PuppyPaw.
Well, PuppyPaw may have gone a little bit too soon here. The crossbows are actually outmassed right now. Man-at-Arms riding in, nest of bees. So they can get a few splash attacks out, could be big. And coRe breaks off a troop to send to the backside and deal with it. The problem is it's a clock tower nest of bees, and the crossbows counter you out. So a few extra shots coming out. Final flurry should be launched, but does get cancelled at the last second. Heavy damage done, though. And coRe losing over 10 men-at-arms, still more falling. This trade is good for PuppyPaw.
We do see a Treb kind of sneaking through the forest, but this trade does look like he's probably going to wipe out like a good third of the rest of these.
I think he wipes out all of them, actually. This is
This is
a bad
not
fight.
turning around. I would expect coRe to like turn around, at least salvage what he has, but it looks like he's going all in, and he's like, no, I'm a warrior of honor.
I don't need them anymore. Why is that coRe? What are you going to push next? Mana, oh, crap. It's out. coRe, the second game in a row with a grim, quick ending for him. PuppyPaw still looking dominant here as he 2-0s our favorite German observer.
Lovely, lovely. I liked how at the end there was like that nest of bees just like hiding behind the gate, just like spitting out sparks. Like, hey guys, I'm actually here too.
There's something kind of poetic about the fact that like coRe tried to cheese a victory of Outpost in game 1, and then his whole strategy falls apart because of a wooden wall in game 2. There's definitely a highlightable story there. I mean, the tough part, by the way, just to highlight what you were saying, why doesn't he run away? He can't because the man-at-arms will move too slow to disengage. And at that stage, PuppyPaw, if he sees you running away, he'll just start to move towards you, start step shooting. So you'll lose several more man-at-arms. Like the problem is like you just can't rebuild quick enough. And you know, you can argue that coRe kind of prematurely GG'd out there, but the game plan's fallen apart. The Chinese are quickly eco-booming up now with double TC, which you know about. And then on top of that, you're now building farms ahead of your town center, which will be exposed. So like realistically, although it's maybe a bit premature, especially being on match point, I don't blame coRe for like admitting defeat here. It's unfortunate the way this played out. It wasn't a full kind of cheese into Outpost. I've got to give him credit for the way he snuck the gold with the fully encapsulated gold vein surrounded by Outpost. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't good enough. PuppyPaw continues to look dominant.